Alright, hello YouTube and YouTube subscribers. Today we're going to be doing species profile on the white cloud mountain minnow. Scientific name Tanichthys albonubes. This fish is quite different from all the other species profiles I've done, in that this is not a tropical fish. This is actually a mild temperate species, and it's found particularly in China and northern Asia. And as stated before, as I just stated, that this is not a tropical species. This fish actually prefers temperatures closer to room temperature, and its most active temperatures between 18 to 22 degrees. Its minimum temperature tolerance is actually 5 degrees. Now, here's an interesting story. A long time ago, when I was about 10 years old or so, I had an aquarium. It wasn't heated, and had some fish in the tank. I think it was some white cloud minnows, some tetras, and some corridors. We left home for about a week or so, and we turned the heat off in the house. So when we came back, the tank had dropped down to only 5 degrees, and all the fish were dead except for the white cloud mountain minnows. So these guys are very low temperature tolerant, so you don't need a heater with these guys at all when you keep them. Now, another interesting thing about this fish's temperature tolerance is that high temperatures, particularly temperatures above 24 degrees for extended periods of times, are actually detrimental to a white cloud minnow. They can end up perishing within a few days, actually, at temperatures of, say, 26 or so degrees, they'll perish after a few days. And at temperatures around 24 degrees or so, can actually shorten their lifespan if you keep them at those higher temperatures for a longer period of time. So ideally, you should stick with the 18 to 22 degree temperature range, which makes this a good fish, particularly if you want to keep a fish tank in, say, a basement, where it's relatively cool all year round. These are an ideal one for that type of tank. And due to their preference for cool temperatures, that kind of affects their tank mates that they can live with. One common recommended species is weather loaches. They are also from that same similar region, and they have similar temperature preferences. Also, some of the Central American fishes, such as guppies, they can also go without a heater at around 18 to 20 degrees as well and live quite comfortably. American flagfish is another one that also work quite well. A lot of these cyprinids, such as danos and quite a few of the barbs and a few of the rasboras, they're also tolerant of those cooler temperatures as well. Interestingly, in the wild, this fish often overlaps with the paradise fish, Macropus opercularis, and I would not recommend keeping the two together due to the fact that one of the main things listed on paradise fish's diet in the wild is actually small fish. And white cloud minnows, they kind of fit that category of small fish. So if you keep white cloud minnows with paradise fish, I think the paradise fish will most likely just eat them, because these guys they're not particularly big. Most of the sites I see, they list the maximum size at 1.5 inches. I've kept them also myself, and I usually saw them growing to about 1 to 1.5 inches as well. So it's a good size small shoaler, but it's not a particularly big fish, which is good, especially since you can keep it in small, cool aquariums, as I stated before. Now, in terms of temperament, you should keep this fish in a shoal. I'd recommend, say, 6 or so for a 10-gallon tank, and then as your tank gets bigger, I'd make the shoal about 10 or so, or even more, depending on how much you want these guys to fill up your tank. They're pretty active, even at the cooler temperatures, until you get to below 18 degrees. That's when they start to become less active, but they're pretty active, and they're good. They got a good amount of color on their body, too. They have these red highlights on their fins right here, and in the males, the red highlights are a bit more prominent, like on this fish. This fish is probably male too because he's slim. The female's got pot belly. And there's some variants of this fish. Some of them I don't think they're particularly impressive, but I think there's a golden form, and there's also a red form, which are cultivated, where there's a lot more golden pigment, and that kind of enhances the fish's color. There's also a long fin form, where actually all the fins are elongated, but I think those ones look kind of just plain goofy. So in terms of feeding, all this fish needs is a good standard tropical flake. You can add some live food such as Defina, mosquito larvae, bloodworms, most of the general stuff. This fish is a good general fish, so it's a good starter fish too. Particularly if you are interested in keeping tropical fish without a heater. Well, actually, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't call these guys tropical fish. I should call them mild temperate fish mild temperate fish that you can keep without a heater. And interestingly, these guys are actually banned where I'm living. In Manitoba, they're banned. and that's because they have the potential to actually be invasive. So I think they're also banned in Ontario. They might be banned in a few states also because they can actually easily adapt to a lot of the mild temperate areas in Canada and in the states as well. And because their temperature tolerance of only about 4 degrees, they could theoretically, in say like a large lake, they could actually survive in the deep sections of a lake during the wintertime where the water stays around 4 degrees or so. So there's going to be more information about these guys in the coming slide. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to bring you a few more species profiles in the upcoming week. Peace out.